Well, as I continue going about these shepherds, what I need to say is I was able to change my location for right now because my parents are out of town. They're out of town for my niece's birthday. It is Friday afternoon as I currently get on here, and her birthday is tomorrow, Saturday. I don't know what day this will be uploaded for you all to watch it, but I will tell you all what I've had to do here. It would not be typical for me to have to remove the hands of the shepherds, like where I've kind of had to, remove them with the knife temporarily, but I'd say if I'm going to continue demonstrating the steps here, that is something which in this case I had to do because there were a few things I kind of did a little too fast, and like I might have said before, when I'm not on camera, I'm just a little more able to take my time with these things and do a little bit better, but I just kind of had to get used to the fact that this was kind of an unusual situation, just being in front of the camera, and it's just something where we're going to have to kind of settle things here a little more, and so I'm kind of feeling a little bit better today than I was last night when I was making the recording and when I uploaded it and all, but I will say I got a few marks from the drill on the face of this one, so I am removing those right now. And so we've kind of got little things taken care of here. We're managing things the best we can. I'd say things are probably going to be a little different for a while, and that's kind of how they are going for right now. And I'd say that over here, I have many more pieces of sandpaper I can use when it comes time to do it. But I will say I can put the hands and the staff back on with super glue as soon as the time comes to put them back on. But I had to remove them right now so that I could go about the other steps and demonstrate the other steps. But one thing we do is around the top of the hood, we trim it like this here, just to kind of give it a little bit of a more angular structure. That's what we do all around it. That's what we do all around the top, so we got to take care of this like we can, the best we can, best way we know how to do it. So that's how this is going to go. We're going to take care of these matters, the little by little of them, and I say that there's a little work we kind of do around here as well. I say that this little time in my life is just a time when we just got to put a little more work in. I will say that things had been a little different. There's been fraudulent transactions on my debit card, so there was one about a month ago that happened, but I was able to lock the card long enough for that one just to kind of get eliminated, which it did, but this time I locked the card and one of them that I didn't make went through, so had to call the bank and report it. So they probably did what they would normally do, just kind of like just refund you for the fraudulent transaction, and then like I'd say what they did now was they're turning it into the police and to do an investigation of it, make sure it's right, and they're going to take care of that. I'd say that if I can't prove it to be fraudulent, they're just going to withdraw the money again. I don't know what else could happen or what else could take place or what else it could be, but we feel like it's just all getting taken care of the best way it needs to be. We're going to be happy and blessed about that. Be thankful for that. Be thankful it gets taken care of. So I think that's a good thing. We got people involved to settle our disputes in life. And some of this stuff, I mean, that and the earlier PayPal thing I've told you about is just among those things where I've had to look into Psalm 37, and it talks about, what the justice of the righteous will be and what the fate of the wicked's going to be. And sometimes I'd say, you can just get a lot of wisdom and insight and comfort from that psalm. So that's kind of how I read it today. There's probably going to be some more to share later on, but what I want to say is that I think I've pretty much gotten things taken care of for the shepherd the best way I need them to be. I'd say there's probably just a thing or two we might have to equal out here, and then we're going to get it right. I'd say that there's probably going to be some imperfections about this, but they're all going to be settled sooner or later. We're all going to get them down to what they need to be and where they need to be, taking care of this. So I'd say hopefully we're going to get this better by the time we're done, take care of things here best way we need to do them, and get things a little more settled here. I'd say hopefully this is going to come out a little bit better here, taking care of little things here. I'd say that there was just a little mess up around the little ribbon here close to the hands and around here close to the end of the robe. So we got to settle these matters the best we can, take care of them as good as we can, and try to solve them the best way we know how, do all we know how to do all that we can do. I say that we're getting the work put in. Sometimes it comes out a little uneven because I was doing it on a camera, so just doing it for an audience, so that just kind of makes it a little bit harder to go about. It makes it a little more of a struggle, but I think we've kind of gotten the little things taken care of here. We've gotten all we need to put into these. I think I'm going to try to do a little bit more around the little cuff of the cloak to this one as well. Take care of that to that matter. And I'd say there's probably going to be a thing or two we're going to do on here too. I'd say, I know for one thing, we talked about how we have sandpaper over here, so I'd say there's probably just a little last step we need to take. Maybe try to, and they also suggest in the book that you use an old worn out, 250 grit sandpaper to do this. There's kind of a little limited supply here with what we have, and sometimes there are just kind of other marks on these I have to get off as well. Sometimes I have to sand off the pencil marks as well as all the rough little cuts and rough little knife places on here. And there's probably a thing or two I'm going to show you after I get finished here. Like, you'll see here this little scrape here of the knife that got on one. That was just another thing that was as a result of trying to do it on camera, because might not have been so prepared to do that yet. And I'd say the work can kind of be a little tiring and exhausting here. I didn't think I was going to get around to doing this today. I was at work today just doing my job and going about things, and was just really hard to think about what I was going to do. But I finally came home today after kind of going to McLeod's for a little while to relax this afternoon and rest. Not sure what I'll be going out and doing tomorrow, because this probably isn't the kind of thing I would have done before the time that I met my niece in person, but I met her in person when she came here, and, I was just afraid that she was going to be afraid of me. She was going to start crying if I came around. Didn't think she was going to make up with me, but sure enough, she did. She turned out to be a really sweet baby. I played blocks in the floor with her and kind of, probably knew that I loved her, but thought she was going to be a burden. But when she came here, I kind of realized I could be a better uncle than I thought I could. And once it came down to it, I mean, I always realized what a blessing it could always be just to get kind of even so much as get to see her on FaceTime or Zoom or Skype or whatever I could open up. It was a good thing today. And my parents are out of town now because they kind of traveled over there today because her birthday party is tomorrow, just like her birthday is. And so that was kind of the little good thing about it, getting to go down and see her and for them. And as for me, I'm probably going to be getting on virtually with them tomorrow to see her on computer camera, so that's going to go well. Not sure how well she's going to remember me or anything else, but she's going to know that her Uncle Jonathan loves her and just really wants to be there for her, even just to say happy birthday. So I told her that last time she was here, and she didn't know me all that well, but I just kind of remember when we all kind of sat down to the dinner table last time around, right when she got finished with the little tray she was eating off of, she held it out and said something, and she might have been saying all done or something like that to her mother, but from what I understood, when she said, oh, I thought she was saying Uncle Jonathan. Interesting if she was, because she didn't know me well. I will say last time around that she was here, there was probably a time or two she looked at me and said, Dada. And then there was something her mother said, to which I told her, no, I'm not your Dada, I'm your Uncle Jonathan. And her mama said, oh, that looks like your Dada. Her Dada is my brother, by the way. And I told her, well, I don't know about that, I said, because for one thing, my brother has a full beard. I just have a mustache. That's kind of a little difference. And for one thing, I have blue eyes and my brother has brown eyes. So that's probably another reason I didn't think I looked that much like him. But I tell you, when it comes to these kids, I mean, they're going to learn a lot. They're going to say a lot. They're going to hear a lot. And I mean, I'd say that, there's been different genes on different sides of our family. I'd say that, see, on my mom's side of the family, my grandmother had blue eyes, which I inherited from her, and my grandfather had brown eyes, and then my dad has brown eyes, and so do both of his parents. So that's kind of probably been a common thing in their side of the family. I only knew that about my dad's parents because I remember hearing my mom say it when I was a kid, but I've never been able to look into the eyes of all my relatives on my dad's side to see what color eyes they all have, but I just know that even among my cousins on my mom's side, I've got one with brown eyes and 3 with blue eyes. So I'd say I at least know that much stuff about what I see, and there have been different things I've inherited from different relatives, and I mean, I know I haven't really looked into the eyes of either one of my mom's brothers, which are both my uncles, but there is one of them who I've heard her tell me has blue eyes. I've never looked into the eyes of either of them to see. Don't know what color the other one has, and I'd probably say not so sure about either one of my aunts, which are the 2 wives of those brothers, but I think it's all kind of a thing that gets to be coming from one side of the family to the next, and what used to bother me as a kid was that I was the only one among my siblings and myself who had blue eyes, but I think the older I get, the more I kind of learn to be grateful for my blue eyes. And one thing I also didn't like was that I had curly hair like my grandfather did, but I kind of learned to be a little more grateful for that too the older I get, just to kind of have a little bit of uniqueness in us. I'd say out of all my grandchildren and all my cousins on my mom's side, I was the only one who inherited my grandfather's curly hair. That was one of those things that I'd say it just means so much to me. Makes me think how when I was 25, I was just starting to think like I was an adult for the first time and finally getting to do things I never got to do before. So shaved my head, and probably, would hear my grandmother make her comments about it, saying, she always didn't like it when I shaved my head. I was the only one with my grandfather's curls, and always saying, your pawpaw's probably rolling over in his grave right now. And there came a time when I saw a picture of myself while I had my head shaved with my curly hair back. You see, it kind of looks like this, and I kind of started to miss it, so I started to kind of let it grow back out and never shaved it off again since. There's probably been 2 times in my life I've buzzed my head. The 2 times were probably about 6 months apart, maybe. So that was kind of the way it was. I let it grow back once and I shaved it again for the summertime to swim, and it's just the kind of thing that it varies from one to the next. It's different from one to the next, but sometimes I think you just start to appreciate things once you don't have them anymore. And I will say, even though my grandmother is dead now too, I mean, probably wouldn't even shave my head again now, because the way I just kind of see it now is that, of course, she's not alive now to fuss about it. She's not on earth to fuss about it. She's in heaven now, along with my grandfather. But, I feel like of all the things I have that are sentiments of my grandparents, my grandfather's curly hair is probably just one of those things that I just kind of seem to appreciate so much now. And it's a sentiment I want to hold on to as long as I can. I mean, I might go completely bald when I get older. My hair might start falling out when I'm older. I never know. But I'm just trying to kind of hold on to the best of those things while I still have them and still can. I do want to say here that I think we've gotten these shepherds to a fine sanding. There might be a few little things to kind of take off the edge here sooner or later, but I'm going to kind of look something up here, make sure I don't see anything I might be missing. But it seems like I've gotten it all. I don't think I'm missing anything that I see. There's probably going to be some places to kind of narrow it down on certain sides here, but I'm going to say for now, it's probably a time that I can finally glue the hands and the staves back into their places, and hopefully we can have that taken care of, and I say that these little times in our lives, we just kind of take care of these little things like this. I say there's just something here. It's probably going to be less noticeable once it goes back on and once we kind of sand the hands back into place, but we're going to take care of that little matter here. I think we got it just like that. And we're going to stand it upright. Take little things into consideration and try to make sure that it's going to stand in the right place, which apparently it seems to be doing. So we got that right here. We got it just like this. There's probably going to be a little more to do once we kind of come along on it a little more. Probably a place or two where I think a little piece of wood chipped off. We're going to have to putty that back in place, but we'll take care of that. I think I got it standing up just fine. And as for this one, you know, it's like you'd probably say that the staff is probably a little closer on this one. It's a good thing I got it a little more diagonal than I usually do. There's been some of these shepherds I've made where the staff has been up in their face and covering their face, and probably not the best thing for them. So we take care of these little things just as they need to be, just as they ought to be. And here we got another little work done now. I will say that I am hoping once I get down to sanding these a little bit more and sanding over the putty, it will probably end up being a little less noticeable. Maybe somebody might want it after that, but I'd say this is a moment when we're going to try to get things the best we have them. I think that we've kind of got things in the best control they need to be. So we're going to try to set little things aside here. And I'd like to say that there's just a few other matters we've got in our hands right now. We're taking care of the little things all the best we can. We know some things are going to go wrong, some things are going to go right, but we've got it all in our control. We've got it all in our hands, and we've got it all where we're going to take care of it. So I will say, hopefully next time around when I do this video, when the glue's a little drier, I might be able to come back around, maybe kind of putty in those hands, maybe do a little sanding, make it turn out a little bit better. Might not show that much, and even if I do, it might get to the point where I might be able to make the video in which I demonstrate how to carve the lambs. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Take care and be safe.